Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome and good evening I greet to everyone. It is my pleasure to be the moderator for this sharing session. I am Ainaja, and as a part of the committee, I would like to express our deepest appreciation, especially to all the participants that favorably helped into making these events possible. It is an honor to be here for our sharing session, and I hope today's session will be an enjoyable and knowledgeable one that will benefit all. On behalf of the entire team, I would like to thank our guest speakers, Ms. Nabiha Zulkifli and Ms. Hanini Zaki, for spending a part of your precious time with us. Before we start our sharing session, I would like to call upon TS Dr. Safari Zainal to say a few words. Hi everyone, I hope you can wait patiently before the sharing session starts. I would like to call upon TS Dr. Safari Zainal to say a few words before we start our sharing session. Please welcome TS Dr. Safari Zainal.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear
Sorry, I
you.
forgot to unmute my speaker. Okay. I would like to say thank you for moderator for inviting me to give opening speech for the program tonight. Yes, and then I also would like to say welcome to our two speaker students from one from Newcastle and one from University of Sydney. Okay, for Newcastle University, actually, I would like to share something something that history for actually about 20 years ago, in 1997. 1997, I got opportunity to study my degree in electrical engineering in Newcastle. Di Newcastle. But because during that time of during 1997, the recession, kita ekonomi dah down masa tu, so that my scholarship my sponsor dia tarik balik lah saya punya scholarship during that time because of during that time apa kata currency Malaysia punya currency ni memang boleh kata dia drop 100%. Okay, masa tu ingat 1 pound equivalent to RM3.50. RM3.50 untuk 1 pound during that time lah. Tapi because of recession, dia jump pergi kepada 1 pound equal to RM7. So that dia punya fee yang sponsor saya kena bayar kira ada double lah, 100% lah. So that one dia orang tarik balik lah saya punya scholarship untuk ke Newcastle tu. Tapi okey lah, saya expect itu tak ada rezeki saya lah, tak ada rezeki saya masa tu. And then but dia offer me lah untuk buat degree in mana-mana local university lah. Tapi because of that time, because ramai sangat orang yang tak dapat pergi ke overseas, so mana yang dapat pergi overseas semua dia tarik balik. It doesn't matter yang pergi ke UK, US, New Zealand, Australia, ke mana-mana semua ramai tak pergilah. So jadi ramai yang jump masuk ke local university tahun 1997. During that time, so that saya pun termasuklah, tapi because of ramai sangat yang masuk tu, jadi macam competition very high to enter local university. So that saya masa tu, yang asalnya saya ini sepatutnya dapat masuk electrical, bidang electrical engineering. Tapi because tak ada, so jadi the opportunity saya tu memang kata saya punya itu agak-agak sempit lah. So saya tak macam mana saya dicampak ke chemical engineering lah. But it's okay, because of whatever is macam kita fikir macam ni lah. Kita fikir for you or for all of you lah, just mungkin you rasa macam you tak berpeluang belajar ke luar negeri. Ada yang berpeluang. Okey, kita expect itu adalah rezeki masing-masing, dan kita jangan fikir orang kata kita punya plan itu bagus. Sebenarnya apa yang Tuhan rancang pada kita tu lagi baik. Okey, for example, saya tak nak cerita pasal orang lain, saya cerita hanya pada diri saya sendiri lah. Okay, saya tidak berpeluang untuk melanjutkan pengajian saya di Newcastle University tahun 1997 di bidang electrical, tapi saya diberi peluang untuk buat di local university dalam bidang chemical engineering. Okey, tapi dengan chemical engineering tu saya learn something lah. Dulu memang saya tak minat kimia pun. Saya bukannya good student in chemical engineering lah. Jadi compared to fizik yang tu saya okey, matematik tu saya better lah compare dengan chemistry. Tapi tak apa, I take that opportunity lah. Saya tak ni, so saya fikir sekarang ni saya kata dulu saya punya perancangan saya adalah nak masuk chemical engineering, electrical engineering, tapi Tuhan bagi chemical engineering.
Sorry, Doctor. Sorry, Doctor, for interrupting. Do you want to open your camera or not?
Oh yes. Okay. Oh sorry.
Sorry for it.
Okay. So that during that time lah, the opportunity tu saya kata peluang tu memang saya ambil lah, walaupun agak kecewa lah sikit. Saya kecewa because saya tak dapat pergi ke Newcastle, ke UK masa tu, tapi at the same time tak dapat pergi buat electrical engineering di bidang yang saya betul-betul minat lah, bidang yang betul-betul minat. Memang saya punya ambition pada dulu lah. Tapi Tuhan enakan saya ke bahagian chemical engineering. Tapi it's okay. Walaupun hebat perancangan Allah tu lagi hebat. Why? Kenapa? Dengan Tuhan switchkan saya punya laluan daripada electrical kepada chemical engineering, peluang saya sebenarnya saya rasa memang saya tak jangka pun. Okay, first kali saya buat degree, and then saya dapat berpeluang untuk buat master dalam bidang chemical engineering di Korea. Daripada situ saya dapat buat chemical engineering joint venture dengan KAIS, Institute of Technology di Korea tahun 2004 lah. 2004-2005. And then 2008 Tuhan bagi saya rezeki lagi, which is berpeluang jugalah buat ke UK. Ke UK juga buat PhD di UK dalam bidang chemical engineering, bukan di Newcastle tapi di Leeds University lah. So Tuhan bagi saya, perjalanan dia jauh, tapi dia punya ni berlipat ganda lah. Dapat buat master, dapat buat PhD. Tapi kalau saya fikir, kalau mungkin dulu saya buat electrical engineer, saya pergi, mungkin saya punya career path saya belajar sampai degree, master PhD mungkin tak ada kan. Jadi saya rasa macam apa-apa pun kita kena terima lah, kita kena terima secara terbuka lah. Peluang Tuhan bagi tu kita jangan rasa sedih, mengut. Mungkin itu adalah terbaik untuk kita. Macam apa saya katakan, hebat-hebatnya perjalanan kita, perjalanan Allah tu lagi hebat. So jadi kita jangan kecewa lah. Untuk all of you, kalau mungkin ada yang tak berpeluang untuk belajar keluar negara, tak apa, buat je kat local university, mungkin you punya nasib sama dengan saya. Okay, so that it's good lah for sharing session dengan speaker kita daripada Newcastle, and then ini mungkin kita akan belajar something that new about sistem pendidikan di negara masing-masing. Okay, without saya pun tak nak delay masa, saya dah ambil masa dekat 10 minit untuk speech ni. Okay, saya return back this session to the moderator.
Thank you very much, Dr. Safari. It was very inspiring speech from you. Today, we have Miss Nabihah and Miss Hanini, who are willing to squeeze in some time despite their busy schedule to share their knowledge and experience with us as Malaysian overseas students. Before that, let me provide you a little detail about our guest speakers today. Miss Nabihah Zulkifli is an alumnus from Mara Junior Science College Balik Pulau and Taylor's University Lakeside campus. Currently, Miss Nabihah is pursuing her study in the University of Sydney in Bachelor of Chemical and Biomolecular Engineering Honours and expected to graduate with first class. Besides of her excellent results in academic, Miss Nabihah is also an active student. One of her experiences is to be the entertainment executive in Malaysia Festival 2020. Now, let's know a little bit of Miss Hanini Muhammad Zaki. She's one of the alumni from UITM Terengganu with a diploma in chemical engineering, and now she has graduated from Newcastle University in Bachelor Engineering Honours Chemical Engineering. Miss Hanini was active in co-curriculum too, as she once been the Secretary of Malaysia Society, Newcastle University. Without further ado, let's start the session. Miss Nabihah, can you share with us how you adapted to your learning sessions during COVID-19 pandemic abroad?
Thank you, Miss Ain Najwa. Okay, to TS Dr. Safari Zainar, as well as the committee members and all audience, I'd like to say Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good evening. Okay, all right. First of all, I would like to say thank you to School of Chemical Engineering Student Society, SCHES UITM Shah Alam. I am so happy and I feel so honored to be here today to share my experiences with all of you guys. I know that Miss Aina already introduced a little bit about myself, but since I have prepared a few slides, I would love to share with you guys a few things about myself and my universities and my life here before I answer the questions. All right, okay. So my name is Nur Nabihah Syafiqah binti Zulkifli. People just call me Nabihah. You can call me Biha as well. So I'm currently in my third year doing Bachelor of Chemical and Biomolecular Engineering. So it's basically just chemical engineering. It's just the name of the degree here in my university. Biomolecular is just, add-ons. And I am a Petronas scholar. Can you go to the next slide? Okay, so this is my university, the University of Sydney. So it's basically the oldest university in Australia. I think it's been there for almost 200 years. But, despite, being old, the facilities, I would say is very excellent, due to the frequent maintenance. I feel so comfortable studying here and yeah, next slide. Okay, so this is like a little bit of view other than that main buildings. This is the libraries, the hallway, and most of it is like view at night. Next slide. Okay, so this is me. I'm doing the bubble column experiment. I'm pretty sure that UITM has it as well. And that pictures down there is like my group mates. We did integrated engineering together. So it's basically a subject where we were given, topic, a project to handle throughout the semester. So that is like the presentation day. Okay, next. Mm, okay, so this is my university life before the pandemic. I am very socially active person. So I joined quite a few societies, student societies, and also events. As you can see, like I've joined like BPS, Badan Perhubungan Sydney. It's basically a student society here, Malaysian Student Society. So we conducted a few events for the welfare of Malaysian students here. Okay, next. Okay, so this is us when we, travel. The picture at the middle is like in Melbourne in last 2 years. So it's basically way before pandemics happened. Okay, next slide. So this was during Eid this year. So basically Sydney, we only experienced fully lockdown starting July this year, and it has already ended in October, mid of October, just ended. Okay, next. Okay, so this is the city I live in. Okay, next. Okay, back to the question asked to me. So the things that I've shown you before is like basically um, my life in Sydney before the pandemic happened. So the pandemic actually started when in 2020, early, early early March here, I think. Yeah. So we managed to go to class face to face for about 3 weeks. And it's basically, it's in the phase of transition to the transition phase to the online learning. So basically all the tutorials class, all the labs, and as well as all the lectures are all, being transferred online. Few of unit study even started to change at week two, yeah, around week two or something. So I still remember we even do the exams online. I still remember like I have a few problems during the exams. Like I have technical issues where I could not submit my exams, but thank God the lecturers and the university were really helpful. They give me chance to like redo the exam. Yeah, I know it's a bit hard lah because you need to redo the exams, but it's better than you didn't be given like second chance to redo the exams. Yeah, as for my classes, for my learning quality, I feel like it's basically very different for me because I don't interact enough with the lecturers and friends. Like the group work is not that impactful for me, and but as a student, I think you guys know this very well. Like we somehow need to do it no matter what it takes, no matter how hard it is. So I push myself. I text the tutors, the lecturers, and even my classmates to ask questions. And yeah, like as for me, I am someone that like I said before, I'm a socially active person, so I love going out and even just for walk. I love to talk to people, and not being able to do that actually has some impact on me. I'm pretty sure that everybody here aware that in chemical engineering is not that easy. So yeah, I mean, it going out actually helps me to release my stress, and it makes me happy. So basically in NSW, like I told you before, we just started our fully lockdown during July, and you know it's only has been like 3 months for me. I know that my the one that I experienced might not be as hard as the one that you guys experience in, because like in Malaysia you have like very long lockdown. I couldn't even imagine like how you guys go through that. I'm so respect you guys for being able to do that. But looking at the good side, lockdown actually brings me closer to my family, my friends, and even God, Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. Because like I have a lot of time spending. I spend a lot of time at home. With my friends, with my family. I call them almost every day. So those are the support system that actually keep me, strong throughout the journey. So yeah, I think, oh my God, it's pretty long answer, but I hope I answered the question. Back to the moderator.
Thank you, Miss Nabiha. I think that could be a new knowledge for us participants here. Alright, well, how about you, Miss Hanini? We would love to hear from you too.
Hi, Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Hanini, but people usually just call me Nini. Thank you so much, Ain, for being the moderator. And Nabiha, that was a really great story that you told. So, I study in Newcastle University in Newcastle upon Tyne, United Kingdom. So basically, I'm far away from London. London is KL, and I'm in Kelantan. I'm in Kelantan. So when people ask me, do I study in London? I just say, I study in Kelantan of UK. so so if you see Phenom is the place that I stayed. It's basically a majority Muslim area, and that's my university. My university is actually scattered all over the town, but this is just the main administration building. And Quayside is basically the iconic landmark of Newcastle upon Tyne. Newcastle upon Tyne is not big. If you compare to London, Manchester, Edinburgh, that's much bigger. So Newcastle upon Tyne is a you can say it's like Kota Baru. It's small, but everything is in there. Okay, next slide. So we also have a Malaysian community here. It's also not as big as Manchester, London, Edinburgh, because those are basically the more Malaysian hubs in there. But we do have a small community of our own. So if you look at the left side of the picture, those are my friends during Hari Raya Haji. And we also have, we're also very close with the Malaysian community, the families that live here. So basically, they are all doctors that study in the UK, and then they live in the UK to become doctors for the NHS. The NHS is basically the KKM of UK. So yeah, we always spend time together. So it makes Newcastle feel like home, definitely. Also, we also as students, we also sometimes help take care of the kids, babysit the kids. So that definitely strengthens the bond between the students and the families that live here. Okay, next. And I'm also very socially active in curricula. So I was the secretary of the Malaysian Society in Newcastle. So these are all the students in Newcastle University Malaysian Society. So every single year, I mean, before the pandemic, we had our own Malaysian night where we promote, where we will, where we would promote Malaysian culture to the campus, and we would have this one night that we would do plays and dances, traditional dances. This year, because the COVID restrictions have lifted, we are doing Putri Gunung Ledang for our Malaysian night to showcase to the local people. Yep. So next. So I also do part-time work in the UK. I'm a COVID tester. So when I first got the job, short story, when I first got the job, my parents were really mad at me because it's dangerous, but I needed money. So whatever pays. And also, if you see on the right side of the picture, I was distributing flyers during our Malaysian food festival. So we had white people come eat nasi lemak, and they were shocked. Nasi lemak is a breakfast because it's so, as you can see, it's a lot of portion, it's a lot of things going on. So we have the Malaysian families, they would come and they would sell, they would become our vendors and sell during the food festival. So yeah, it was really nice. It was really eye opening for the local people and people, the students in our campus that were not from Asia. So yep. Next. So yeah, I don't really have pictures from my studies apart from doing the online things. Yeah, I think one thing about the pandemic is that you always have to take pictures for memories, which I now learn after the pandemic. So this is the only picture I have. So this is when I did my online group project. So these are all the people in it. So we would have calls every single week to do it together. So yep, next. So yeah, I studied in diploma in UiTM Bukit Besi Terengganu, and then I did my bachelor's degree in Newcastle University. Alhamdulillah, I've graduated recently this July. So my final year was, so back to the question from Ain, how did we cope with the online learning? So it was just basically the same as the everyone back home in Malaysia in UiTM also. It was my final year. It was online. It was hard. Um, it was hard. But I think the most important thing about online learning is having a great support system, having good friends to cover you up, and having a good group. Like the picture before this, that was my group for plant design projects. So, Alhamdulillah, I had a really great group, and thankfully everyone was in Newcastle, so we actually met up a lot to do our project together. So it was the same as in Australia also. And Nabiha, we also had online classes. The labs were closed, but our lockdown was from October 2020 until January 2021. So after that, we slowly opened all our labs, but the classes were still closed, but only the labs for the final year students. So at the end of my degree, I did had like 3 sessions of lab, which was okay, I guess, for the experience. But yes, I think the biggest thing I'm thankful for all my final year is having a great support system, my friends to back me up. And I think also one thing important is that you have to make connections before the pandemic too. So when you ask people for help that you've never talked to, or lecturers that you're not close to, and suddenly you ask for help, it becomes a smoother process than like having to go through the pandemic then ask for help. But yeah, everything went well, alhamdulillah. It was hard, but I survived. Okay, thank you, Ain.
Thank you, Miss Hanini. All right, so I will make a little conclusion from both of them before we move to another questions to our guest speakers. So, firstly, I would like to say we could make an example from Miss Nabiha as apart from being sad and stressed from our online distance learning because of this COVID, we should think of the positive side so we didn't get any more stress. Like what Miss Nabiha did, we can call our parents often for those who stay far away from the parents, or we can be closer to our God, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And to Miss Hanini, we can say congratulations for her graduations. And also everyone, I think we can also try their study tips during this online distance learning. All right, Miss Nabiha, I'm sure the other participants are also curious about how to choose the suitable path or course and get an offer to study abroad. Hence, can you share your tips for us?
Okay, thank you, Ain, for the question. So basically, okay, in terms of, studying like overseas, I think the first thing you need to do is you need to like have goals, I think. Yeah, because you need to know like what you want to be, like what you want to do in the future, what is your passion, and if you want to study abroad, like where do you want to study and for how long. So you need to, make it very clear that that is the first one. And the second one, you have to do research because, um, there are so many universities around the world, and they have like very different requirements and very what do I call different way to apply. Like for Australia, we if you want to apply for Australia, we have different portal, different website for different states. So basically, like if you want to apply for NSW, like in Sydney, you need to apply through NSW portals and choose like a few universities in NSW region. But if you want to apply somewhere in Victoria, Melbourne, so you have to go to other websites. So you need to know all those things before make an application. And you need to also know whether, because like for me, I don't have to do IELTS because my university doesn't need it. But some universities might need it. I think the one in the UK might need IELTS, if I'm not mistaken, and maybe Mini can share after this. And once you know what you want to do, you know where you want to go, you already know which way, how to apply for it. Then you make decision, because I think you can apply to like more than one universities, as backups. Like you can make a list, like a ranking, and then just go. I mean, check when is the deadlines, when is the due, and you can make the application. I think for Australia, if you want to apply for Australia, the most important thing is like to make your visa approved. I think it might take time. So make sure like if you want to go to Australia, make sure you settle your visa and stuff earlier. Yep. I think that's it from Australia point of view. Yeah. Back to the moderator.
Thank you, Miss Nabiha, for your sharing. All right, now let us listen to Miss Hanini's side.
Okay, the UK is a little different from Australia, but it is much more similar to the UK because, to Malaysia, because Malaysia is a Commonwealth country. So Malaysia pernah dijajah oleh British, maka our education system is very similar to each other, which makes it more easier to apply. So my pathway is very different from most people, even the people I know here, because I was from diploma UITM. So after SPM, although I got straight A's, I couldn't secure any scholarship, so I just went for a diploma. Also, I went for diploma because I wanted to go to a further state. So I know if I went for diploma, I would go to Terengganu. If I went for Asasi, I would go to Dengkil, UiTM Dengkil, which was like 20 minutes away from my house. I'm like, no, I think I want to go to a further state. So I did my diploma in Terengganu. Best time ever. I had the greatest time of my life there. Met lifelong friends, had great teachers. And then I started applying overseas when I was doing my internship. Initially, it was just more of a kalau dapat pergi, kalau tak dapat tak apa. It was more like, let's see how this goes. But I really agree with Nabiha that you have to have a clear goal if you do want to study overseas. That was my mistake when I started applying, and when I finally got it in the end, I was more of like, nak pergi ke tak? It was not like, yay, dapat pergi. It was not like that. It was like, nak pergi ke tak? And I did secure a scholarship from the Newcastle University. So basically, they paid my fee, my school fee. So everything, my self expenses like my rent, my makan minum is all from my parents, which still cut the cost, which is good. But in the end, like Nabiha said, you have to have a clear goal. If you go overseas and you feel like you just feel like doing the degree and you don't have like a clear goal, you will suffer for a few months, then you will go stable. Because that was me when I first came to the UK. I was truthfully, honestly, I was not mentally stable. I was homesick. I don't know why I left UiTM. There was a lot of questions going on in my head. But in the end, after when COVID happened, I came back home, recharged, and then I started feeling much more better. I started performing more in my academics. So yeah, I really agree with Nabiha. Have a clear goal, do your research, every single thing, then set your heart to do overseas, because there's a lot of things that studying overseas that we don't portray in social media. There's a lot of things that go behind the scenes that we don't show. But yeah, so basically I started applying my overseas through UCAS. So UCAS is the UPU of UK. I started applying that during my SEM6 internship, not after my internship, during my internship. During my internship, I applied that. I got a place. Then had to submit my final transcript after the whole internship. And then I got into Newcastle. So I think the whole process was smooth actually. It did take about 3-4 months. So if you want to do a degree abroad from diploma, you have to plan ahead. But the only troublesome thing was that I had to travel to Terengganu there were some documents that I had to take from UiTM Shalam. There were some documents that I had to take from UiTM Terengganu. So yeah, but I didn't travel to UiTM Terengganu. A friend of mine helped me do all of that for me. But yeah, the only tricky process of this whole abroad thing from UiTM, from if you are UiTM graduate, is that you have to have documents from UiTM Terengganu that you have to go collect yourself, and UiTM Shah Alam that you have to go to collect yourself. Okay, that's all.
Thank you, Miss Nabiha and Miss Hanini, for the sharing and tips from both of you. Before we move on to the Q&A slots, I want to make a small conclusion from these second questions. All right, so if you want to be like them, where we want to be an overseas student too, you want to study abroad too, first of all, you need to have a strong goal, and you also need to make a preparation, so it will, inshallah, it will ease your and smooth your way to go there, inshallah. And I pray for those who has the willing and strong spirits want to go to study abroad too. I'll pray that you can also make it, inshallah. All right, so everyone, we will now move on to the Q&A slots. Therefore, participants with any questions may ask them via chat. You can find it right off the channel. Okay, the first questions from Erina Chantan. I will go to Miss Nabiha first. Was it hard for you guys to blend in with the local students there? If so, we would love to hear your experience when you first stepped in the classes.
Okay. Thank you, Arina, for the question. So based on my own experience, I think for chemical engineering school in my university, there is like so many international students. So like yeah, there are a few local students, but I would say it's a mix, you know. So basically, during my first class, everybody just talk to each other. We just introduce ourselves, and I think they are very friendly, and I would say they are very welcoming. I feel so happy and I feel so welcome. And yeah, in terms of misunderstanding and stuff, I don't feel like that's like a major problem for me because I didn't experience such thing. Yeah, overall I feel it's not that hard for me lah to actually blend in. Yeah, that's from my side.
That was such a lovely experience from you. I hope it's answered your question, Arina. Anyone with any question could ask also. Next question from Mr. Haikal to Miss Hanini. Is it enough just to use scholarship money since you had to do part-time job?
Hi, Haikal. Thank you for the question. So, as I mentioned before, my scholarship money was only for my tuition, for my school fees. So my parents had to give me for living expenses. The money they gave me was enough, but it was just enough for me to survive basic necessities like rent, food. But if I wanted to splurge more on like traveling, buy more things, I would have to do part-time jobs. So I did do part-time jobs. I've since I came here, I had part-time jobs at the library, as a COVID tester. I work at the administration building. So I had a few several part-time jobs actually. But to be honest, it is easy to get a part-time job when you're in the UK. If you study, it's really easy. And it does help me sustain a more comfortable life for myself so I can go travel and buy more things. But yeah, it would depend on how your family has the budget to how much to give you. But if it's just to survive the bare necessities, if you're worrying about getting a part-time job in the UK, it's really easy to apply. Anyone, you just go and work at the Asian restaurant and people will just hire you. So yeah, I hope that answers.
Thank you, Miss Hanini, and thank you, Haikal, for your questions. Now, I would like to ask question from my side to Miss Nabiha. Can you tell a bit about the hostel, or how do you find a place to stay there?
Okay. Thank you, Ayan. So basically, me myself, because I came here with a group of students. I have like two more friends studying with me in the University of Sydney from the same scholarship. So basically, the way we found like we search for houses here is like we go like we find through websites. So okay, before I explain all of those things, I just want to say that compared to Malaysia, in Sydney, students, especially international students, they more prefer to stay outside instead of staying inside the student accommodation, because it is like very pricey, I would say. And staying outside, it is much more cheaper. And of course, like me and my friends, we find it through like websites, so we have to apply it through agents. We have to fill the forms and do inspections, check the house and stuff. And it was like quite hard for us to get. And the only thing we did was putting higher price, like we offer higher price to pay. And yeah, finally we managed to get one. So like, if you guys are planning to come to Australia, I would like to suggest two method. Okay, first, if you are coming in group, you can follow the method that I did, like we applied through the agents and stuff. But if you are coming by yourself alone, I think you can just check out like check in the Facebook page. It is called Asa Online Sydney. So there are people who are searching for housemates, roommates and stuff. So you can find it there. And the second one, maybe you can find contacts. For example, if any of you planning to come to Sydney, so you might just contact me and ask like, is there anyone looking for roommates and stuff. I can help you. And if you know other students who are also studying in Sydney or other states, you can also ask them. I think they would be very happy to help. Yeah, that's it. I hope that answered your question. And
Thank you, Miss Nabiha. All right, so everyone who are planning to go to Sydney too, there was a lovely offer from our Miss Nabiha that she wanna help us for the place to stay. All right, so anyone with any questions you wanna ask now? Okay, another question from Ikama Resolver, Miss Hanini. Some Westerners have bad impression towards Asian. Does the situation happen and affect your study there?
Hi Ikmal, thank you for the question. So far I have never experienced any kind of discrimination or racism here in the UK. I can say that British people are one of the most friendliest people I've ever seen. Their friendliness is like over the top. Um, but no, unfortunately, not fortunately, I've never experienced any kind of racism or discrimination. But when COVID-19 first hit Europe and the UK, um, there was cases of Chinese students getting harassed and beaten up in the UK. Not Newcastle specifically. It was more London, big cities, big metropolitan cities like London, Manchester. Yes, that one has. They were targeting more Chinese students or people that look Chinese, even though they were not Chinese. Yes, the students got harassed or catcalled, names, racial slurs. But for me personally, no. And also as a Muslim, as a hijabi, I've also never had any kind of racism and discrimination. But for regarding the COVID-19, it doesn't happen anymore. It was just when it first hit during March 2020 to April 2020. Yes, that did happen, but now everything is okay now. It doesn't happen anymore.
Alhamdulillah, glad to hear that. Thank you, Miss Hanini, for your answer, and thank you, Ikmal, for your questions. To Miss Nabia, I just think about another question for you. If you are planning to go somewhere, do you use their public transportation often?
Hi. Okay. Yes, definitely yes, because like it is like very convenient here in Sydney. You can go to the beaches, you can go to the mountains, you can go even to the river and stuff by just using public transportation. So it's very convenient, and the coverage is like very wide. I am so shocked to come. I mean, like I went to Melbourne, few sorry in my during my first year, so it's very different. Even though I think Melbourne is more popular than Sydney, I think more people will know Melbourne instead of Sydney. So I think the public transport there is not that wide, because I saw like my friends, they still need to go, to beaches and stuff by car. But for us, Sydney siders, we call ourselves Sydney siders. We just, use public transportations, and it is very easy to use. And also the fare, I don't want to say it's cheap, but it is affordable. Okay, that's the word, affordable. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Thank you, Miss Nabiha, for your answer. Next question from Ms. Shazwani Muhammad Junedi. So, Ms. Hanini, how do the universities take action during COVID-19 pandemic?
Hi, Wani. Thank you for the question. So the university, when COVID-19 first hit the UK during March 2020, our university closed down, and the university actually encouraged all international students to go back home. So that was what everyone did. Basically, we went back home. I also went back home for about 6 months. Then I came back. Um, so when I did came back, there was a lot of things that the COVID-19 pandemic university team that helped. So they, because we were still in lockdown. So when the international students came back to the university, the university gave us food vouchers for our 14-day quarantine, for our isolation. They gave us food vouchers. There was loads of email telling you about mental health. The thing about Western countries, I think, is that they emphasize a lot on mental health. The mental health is the priority, then the education is number two. So there was loads of things about mental health. So they were giving out a lot of free stuff, um, from each accommodation to accommodation. We had care packages sent to us. We had food vouchers, lots of email. There were university staffs calling us if we were settling down okay, and if we encountered any loneliness during isolation. especially if you live alone or in a studio where you or a one bedroom flat, you are alone in the entire lockdown and you're in a foreign country. So the university is very accommodating of that, and they stress a lot on mental health because they don't want you to do anything drastic or bad. So yeah. So I think that's the best thing. That's a very plus point for Western universities is that they emphasize a lot on mental health. Mental health is number one, education is number two. Yeah.
Thank you, Miss Hanini. I hope it will answer your question, Miss Chazwani. All right, another question to Miss Nabiha from Shalin Salahuddin. Hello, thank you for sharing, Miss Nabiha and Miss Nini. Is the procedure for obtaining permanent residence in the UK or Australia simple? I think we can start from Miss Nabiha and then to Miss Hanini to answer these questions.
Okay. Thank you, Charlene, for the question. I think I'm not, I'm not the right person to answer the question because I don't really know. But as far as I know or as I heard about it, I think for Australia it's not that hard. I think, but in terms of procedure, I couldn't tell you because I don't know. But I have like a few friends of mine who are applying for the PR or are planning to apply for PR. They actually requires, I think most of them use working as as the reason to apply. I think it's seeing there are a lot of Malaysian families here. I think that seems not so difficult, I would say. But as the steps by steps, I'm afraid I couldn't tell you because I don't really know. But maybe you can contact me afterwards so I can give you, like, if you are interested, I can give you like contact person who are actually PR here. Yeah. I think maybe Nili can, share more.
Hi Sharin, thank you for the question. I'm close with a lot of Malaysian families here. So they are permanent residents in the UK. So they basically studied in the UK, got a job in the UK, and got married, and then stayed on, stayed on for a long time in the UK. So as far as I know, in the UK, I'm not sure if I'm up to date with the most current procedures, but in the UK, if you work for more than 5 years in the UK, the UK government will offer you the residence. They will offer you the residence, so you don't have to apply for it. So they offer you to become a permanent PR here, if I'm not mistaken, because I've heard of that before, but I'm not sure if that's the most updated procedure. But yeah, um, the UK government will offer you permanent residence, and then you would choose if you wanted to become a permanent residence or not. But if I'm not mistaken, the procedure is very simple, especially when you're a Malaysian, because that's one of the advantages of being a Commonwealth country, negara yang pernah dijajah oleh British, which is us, Malaysia, which makes the procedure compared to other countries who are not Commonwealth countries much more easier. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, if you work more than 5 years in the UK, yes, you would have that advantage of getting a permanent residence much more easier. But you still have to work first, then the permanent residence comes later. It's not you cannot just enter UK and then I want a permanent residence. Yeah, it's not something like that. Hope that answers.
Thank you, Miss Nabiha and Miss Hanini. I hope it answered your question, Shali. Next question from M. Akil Firdaus to Miss Nabiha. I have a question for Nabiha. Do you have any plan to work in Australia after you graduate?
Thank you, Akil, for the question. Um, so basically, I don't have any plan to work in Australia after graduation because I am a Petronas scholar, as I told before. So being a Petronas scholar, meaning that you have to serve the company for 5 years after graduated. So like, um, I don't even think of finding a job here for now, but I'm not sure. Like maybe after working with Petronas for 5 years, we'll see how. I didn't even think until that level yet, but we'll see how. Yeah, I hope that's answered your question.
Thank you, Miss Nabiha, and thank you, Akil, for the question. Another question from Shazwani Muhammad Junaidi. I would like to ask both of you, what is the most challenging experience along your studies journey? Miss Nabiha, would you like to answer first, or Miss Hanini?
Miss Halini first.
Okay.
I thank you, everybody, for the question. I think the most difficult thing about studying abroad for me personally is that because I came from diploma, so I fly solo here, means that I didn't have anyone to come with me. So I basically came to a new place alone. I didn't know anyone. I had to start all over again. I think that was the hardest part, starting all over again. New friends, new people, new education system, which was very draining. That's why when I first came, the first 2 3 months was not okay for me. Even though my social media portrayed okay, but it was not okay for me actually mentally. I was homesick. I have never became homesick. I'm from Selangor and I studied in Terengganu. I have never became homesick before, but in the UK, I did become homesick. Also because your friends are all in the one place and you're still struggling to make friends. Or your friends in UiTM are still together, and when you come to a new place, you're still struggling to make friends. And yeah, I think the number one thing is loneliness in a foreign country and making that meaningful connection because you're so used to having your own safe space in UiTM that you have your friends that you know forever. You don't need to start all over again. But when you come out and you need to start all over again and people already have their own cliques, it's hard to masuk. So that affected me a lot. So I think that was the hardest part. It was loneliness plus homesick plus struggling to fit in. Yeah, I think that was my biggest challenge. But in the end, it got better a lot. It was just a matter of time. But because I think that one thing about coming abroad to studies, you cannot set high expectations. You cannot set high expectations when you come. Like when I come, I'm gonna have a lot of British friends. Oh, that's not really the case, and that doesn't actually happen. When I come, oh, I want to see Harry Potter here, there. That's also not the case actually. That doesn't really happen also. So yeah, when you come abroad, I think that was the mistake that I did when I came. I had a lot of high expectations, and it didn't work out for me. So that's why that was the most a challenging thing about me in my journey.
Okay. As for me, I think unlike Nini, I came here with a bunch of friends.
Mm.
So I already know like everyone's around me, and we are pretty much, getting closer to like Malaysian people here. So I feel like in terms of making new friends, it's not like quite challenging for me here. I think that's the case for me. But from in terms of studying, I feel like it's quite hard. I'm not sure if like chemical engineering is really hard for everyone or it's just in Australia. I'm not sure about that, but I think there's like understanding. We have like uh lecturers, friends from like other countries as well, and we are also international students. Like I told you guys before, there are so many international students. So communicating. I'm not gonna say it's hard, but sometimes it can be challenging. But we understand, we are all from diverse background. We are all from different country. So getting fit into that circle, the circles, it kind of challenging. But with time it gets better because like the classmate that you saw in your first year, it is now our third year classmates, my third year classmates. So like they are the same people, so with time you get to know to them and talk to them, and it's actually getting much more easier. I think it's all about the process, you know. It is impossible for you to like come and experience things, you know, smoothly without facing any challenges. You know, it's the expectation, like the Nini, like Didi said. Um, it's an expectation because like when I was in Malaysia, so I also, you know, imagine myself, you know, having a bunch of friends, international friends, local friends, but it's not usually the case because it's not that easy. And sometimes we just, you know, prefer to be in our circle. You know, that's that's happened. Yeah, I think that's the case for me, in terms of, you know, studying here. But in terms of making friends and stuff, I think I am quite lucky because I came here with my friends and ones I already know. So yeah, that's it.
Miss Hanini, do you want to say something? Because you're unmute. You're mute.
Oh, I also like to add something to Nabiha's story just now. It's really true about setting expectations. So when I came here first, I thought I'm gonna have a lot of British friends, but I didn't. That's not the case too. And it's not about, and that's why in the end, people, that I know there's this stereotype, or there's this more of a like common thinking that Malaysians abroad would stick to Malaysians. There's a reason for that. It's not because we do reach out to locals or people that are in from international background, but usually that's also not the case. There's a lot of things that go behind that. That's why in the end you have connections with them, but in terms of your own safe space and your family here, your Malaysian people are your family. In the end, you would reach out to them first. So that's why Malaysians abroad would cari Malaysians abroad too. Yeah.
Thank you, Miss Hanini, and also to Miss Nabiha for your answers. Another question from Dewi Permatasari Saiful Bahari. I'm curious, Miss Nini, how difficult is it to pack for study abroad?
Thank you, Devi, for the question. It was super difficult. I think the most important thing was what to prioritize. And now that I've been here for almost 2.5 years, I think if I were to pack again, I would prioritize food and not my t-shirts because UK is super cold. The cold days are like 6 months and like the hot days are only like 3 months. So I mean tak guna pun bawa t-shirt. You don't tak guna pun bawa t-shirt. So you just better just buy it here. So if I had to do it all over again, like for my first year, I wish I packed more food instead of clothes. Because in the end I didn't wear those clothes because it was too cold. And I wish I packed more friendly, more thick clothes. I don't wear tudung satin here because if the wind kena my face, it's super cold. So I don't wear tudung satin because it's so cold. I don't wear skirt satin. I don't wear anything that's satin. And when I first came here, I have a lot of tudung satin, all of that, and it was useless. So yeah, I think it was very difficult. So now that I know, I wish I bought. If I do come here, I prioritize food than clothes.
Thank you, Miss Hanini. I hope it will answer your question to Dewi. Another question from Miss Dewi Permatasari Saiful too. From both of your sides, what is the difference between study abroad and an exchange program? Can Miss Nabia answer first?
Okay, from my point of view, I think there is like a big difference. I don't know, because correct me if I'm wrong. Like exchange program is like experiencing studying in Malaysia and then come overseas to study, right? Is that what it does it mean? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay. So it's basically different because like if you are studying abroad, you are only get to, you know, experience the abroad side of stories. But if you are doing exchange programs, you can compare and experience two kinds of learning. What do I call, like, two kind of learning process? Yeah. So like you got to experience two things. But okay, that is like the best part of doing exchange program, so you get to experience both sides. But if like you are studying abroad, just abroad, I think, um, how do I put this in word? It's of course it's going to be like longer period of time, and you will get to experience more things. You will get to like have more friends, and you will get to like travel a lot. I think that is like the best part if like you are just doing the you just studying abroad instead of doing the exchange program. But in terms of um good and bad, I don't think we can do that comparison, because it's totally different. Like you cannot compare both of them, because each of them have like their own pros and cons. Maybe I don't have a lot of friends who are doing exchange program, but I do have few friends, they're like doing transfer credit program. I think it's from diploma, when you like finish your diploma and then you continue your degree here, but they like making it short. For example, if you have to do chemical engineering for 4 years for degree, but if you are doing transfer credit programs, you just need to do like around 2 years here. So I think that's a very good idea too. But in terms of you know um big difference, I think just from like you got to this, you, like I said before, you experience two different things if you are doing the exchange programs. Yeah, maybe Nini can explain more about this.
I'm not too sure about exchange program because I've never been in one, and I don't really know any of my friends who are doing it, except for Charlene. But I think it's the same with Nabiha. If you do study abroad, it's years, and while exchange program is more just months. But I can't really compare like pros and cons because they both are good. But I think an exchange program, the university would cater you, like they would cater you, as in they would plan what programs you're in. While studying abroad, you are finding out yourself, I guess. I mean, that you're because you're navigating your own years because you have years here, so you're taking it one by one. And if you want to join something, you just join. But and I believe an exchange program, you follow what they have prepared for you, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I think that's all.
Thank you, Miss Nabiha and Miss Hanini. A question from Farhana Faisal. Hello, I have a question for Miss Hanini. Can you give a brief comparison between Malaysian education system and the UK? Since I'm a diploma graduate from UiTM BB, UiTM Besi as well.
Okay, hi Farhana. Again, because Malaysia is a Commonwealth country, so it's the same education system. But in terms, if you're talking about learning in the classroom for chemical engineering, it was a big difference for me to adjust. So in like UiTM, you would have 200 students for chemical engineering, one batch, but you would have separate classes, one class 20 people, one class 20 people. But here in the UK, for my university, it was 200 people, one class. So to be honest, I didn't know half of them in my class. I mean, I knew their faces, but I don't know their names or anything like that. So that was a big adjustment for me, because I think in UiTM, um, it was more of a close knit community. So you have your classmates that you know, and those are the classmates that you spend time for 4 semesters, 5 semesters. So you're kind of like a close knit group and your friends. But in my case, I only out of the 200 people in my course when I did my degree, I only know about 5 people that I'm close with. Apart from that, I don't really know anyone there. But yeah, so when the quantity is large, the lectures cannot accommodate to each person, so you would have to find your own initiative to go and seek help, if you want help. But I do believe that it is quite a big difference for me because I had to adjust to how the chemical engineering course here and UITM. And one of our there's this one short story I like to share. So I had this paper during my second year. It was transfer process. So it was basically fluid and heat transfer into one subject. And so we had two lecturers for that one subject. So there was a lot. So one subject you would have three or four, five lecturers. So that was also confused. That was also a lot of for me to take in because in UiTM, one subject, one cikgu, one subject, one cikgu. Here, one topic, one cikgu. And so that transfer process, when I did my final exam, it was 400 marks, and you had to pass about like 210 marks for you to pass the subject. So in UiTM, you didn't have anything like that. You just have to have like, if you pass, you pass, but you have marks. So it was hard for me to adjust 400 marks for an engineering paper. So in terms of exam, yes, there is a big difference, and in terms of how they adjust is the same, but how you receive that information, because you have such a large quantity in a big lecture hall of 200 people, there is it is going to be an adjustment if you're from UITM, because UITM is such a close knit community, and here you're scattered everywhere and you don't really know half of the people there. So yeah.
Thank you, Miss Hanini. I hope it will answer your question. Another question from Yana Zanzibar. Hi, Miss Hanini and Miss Nabiha. How both of you decide which country to study abroad? Well, Miss Nabiha, can you answer first?
Okay, thank you, Yana, for the question. So basically, my journey is a little bit different from me. So I applied for scholarship once I got my SPM result. So I applied for a few. So basically, I really want to study abroad. But then I don't want to go to that to any country that which I need to learn their language. I don't want to go to Japan. I don't want to go to China. I don't want to go to German, France. I want to go to like the to the country which use English. So because I feel like it will be a lot easier for me. I don't really into language. Um, so I applied for Petronas. I still remember in the application form there is like two options where I can pick like, okay, to go overseas or local. I just pick overseas. So basically personally I wanted to go to like UK, US, the Europe countries. But I I've been offered by the Petronas to study in Australia. So yeah, so basically that's it. But I'm fine. I mean, like, as long as I don't have to learn any language, then I'm cool with it. So just yeah, basically didn't really decide which country I want to go. I just choose um international. So yeah, they give me Australia and I just go with it. Yeah, that's for me.
For me, I don't know. I didn't really think about any other countries. I think it was more influence of my parents. Study UK. Okay. It was just like that. I mean, to be honest, I didn't really think about other countries, New Zealand, Australia. So, long story short, I think it was influence from the parents. They thought UK was a good choice, friendly people, not too expensive. Let's go UK. That's all.
Thank you, Miss Nabiha and Miss Hanini. A question from Zulaika Samar. I have a question for Miss Nini. Since you already graduated, what's your plan after this?
Thank you, Zulaika, for the question. So I graduated July recently, and I'm coming back to Malaysia actually this Monday. After 1 year of not coming back, yay! So I'm coming back to Malaysia this Monday, but I'm only gonna come back until Christmas, and then after Christmas, I'm gonna come back to the UK. So Alhamdulillah, I've been offered an engineer position here in Manchester. So I'll be working in Manchester as an engineer from now on. Yeah.
Congratulations to Miss Hanini, and I hope it will answer your question to Zulaika. A question from Irawan Arifin. I would like to ask both of you, did you guys experience any discrimination there? Miss Nabiha would want to answer first, or Miss Hanini?
Miss Nabiha can go first because I think
Miss Nabiha.
I
Okay,
think
I'll
I have
go first.
answered this.
Yeah. So Australia is a very welcoming country. So the one that I experienced might be different from others, but I've never, feel oppressed in Australia. So I've always feel accepted and welcome. So yeah, in terms of discrimination, of course there aren't any in terms of, but maybe other people, from other country might find like different thing about Australia. But for me myself, I don't have, I didn't experience any discrimination here. Yep, that's it.
Miss Hanini would like to add something? No. Sorry, Miss Hanini, you're mute.
Sorry. Same. I've also never experienced any discrimination here as a hijabi, as at least. Yeah.
Glad to know that. Hope it will answer your question, Irawan Arifin. A question from Haikal. Hi, how the grade evaluation system in your study? Is it hard to score A or to pass? And is it true, like in movie, that mostly people study and research at huge library in there because book was expensive?
You can go first,
Anyone?
Nini.
Can go first?
Oh, I'll go first. Okay. So the grade evaluation in my studies was very different from your ITM. So in your ITM we use CGPA, right? And when your final results come out, it's like A, B, C, A. You don't know actually how much you got pun. You don't know if it's 70 per 100 or something. But in the UK, we don't use CGPA. We use percent. So like your over like 3.0 would be 60%. If you get 3.5, it will be 70%. It's like that. And when your results come out, it does say how much you got for each subject. So for this subject, I got 53. This subject, I got 70. So that was also a bit of an adjustment because it was a bit of adjustment for me because I was so used to CGPA, and now I know how much I actually got. Like back then, I just knew I just got A, B, C. And is it hard to score A or to pass? To be honest, for me, I'm not really the smartest person, so it was hard for me to even score A. It was hard for me to pass some modules, some subjects. It was hard for me to pass. I think, as I said, the transfer process, the 400 marks, that was my hardest one. That was my hardest subject ever. I think I only got like 40% out of it. Um, on the stock, I only got like 41% over it. It was like barely passing it, but alhamdulillah, I passed it. And is it true that it is in the movie research a huge library? That is true. In the UK, or at least in my university, we do use the library a lot. So in the library, it is very big, and in my universities, we have 4 big libraries and that you can choose from, and it's all over the city. So yes, people do study in the library, and there is research rooms in each library. There is group study rooms, and it's very well equipped. So the library is very well used in the university. So yes, I can say that that is true. Like in the movie, at least for in the UK. Nabiha.
Okay, so in Australia, we didn't use CGPA. We use something called WAM, weighted average mark. So basically, I think it's pretty much the same as Nini. So basically, in the transcript, this the academic transcript. So it will show what subject you get, what subject you do, and then how much you get for that subject, and the indicator. I don't know, cause like we don't use A, B, C. We use HD, D, C. So HD is like high distinction. It's like the top one. So in order to get high distinction grade, you need to get 85 and above, and to get distinction grade you need to get 75 and above. So basically here I'm not sure if like in Malaysia the electives are counted or not, but here like even people tend to like taking electives which are like easier, and help them to get more marks. But here the electives does not count in the CWAM and in the WAM. So basically when you are graduate then you are graduated, so the marks that you get, the WAM that you get is actually pure from the chemical engineering units of study. So I think, yeah, I also like not the smartest person in the school, and it's very hard even to get 75. It's very hard. I don't really like if I can share with you guys, I don't really like hit and mass transfer. I don't know, I just don't like it because there are too much content. But to get pass or at least C credit, you need to get 65 and above. I think it is doable. I would say it's doable. So in terms of library, yeah, just like Nini's university, my university also have a few big library. We have different library for different faculty. So my university is very big, so like for not chemical, for engineering student, they have like a big library called SciTech library. So all the engineering materials are there. So for law school, they have law library. All the law materials are there. So they have different library. But this library are not like restricted only for those related students. I mean, like if you're chemical engineering student, but you feel like you want to study in the law library, so you can go. It's up to you. And then there are also many materials available online. The books available online, so you can search it in the website. It is very helpful. As for me, I really like to stay at the library at night because I suka study malam-malam. So I really like to stay up all night to study because macam I kan macam very social person. So I use my day, to mingle around with my friends. I don't really use my day to like study. So I just kind of use my night to do all those things. So macam library dekat University of Sydney, it opens 24 hours. So like you can stay there late nights, and just I did that, and I came back from the library at in the morning after subuh. It's pretty convenient because there are rooms, you just have to book and fill a few forms, and that's it. It's very convenient. Yeah, I think that's for me.
Thank you to both of you for the answers. Now that Miss Hanini has graduated and Miss Nabiha is going to graduate soon, I pray the best for both of you and congratulations, because as for me, when I listen that, I don't I think I need to study more because the marks to pass is quite hard as for me. But I pray all the best for everyone, to all the participants that also wants to study abroad, or who wants to be the exchange student too. All right, so everyone, thank you for your cooperations for the Q&A slots. Now, before we end the ceremony, there will be a photography session with our guest speakers. A gentle reminder to our lovely participants to also take a screenshot of this program as you need to fill in the feedback form later. I'll now hand this photography session to the multimedia department. To Miss Nabiha and Miss Hanini, I will count to 1, 2, 3, and I hope that our multimedia department could take a photo of us. All right, so 1, 2, 3. All right, thank you to the multimedia department. Ladies and gentlemen, it is finally time to bid you farewell. We are blessed to have such amazing support for our sharing session. Thank you. A last note to all, participants are reminded to fill in feedback form following the completion of today's program. Link of the QR code is provided in the chat section. The whole How They Do It sharing session committee. Thank you very much for being here with us. Till we meet again, thank you and stay safe. Terima kasih.